are diving. Hope comes and stops us in our tracks. Bravely we prove in our striving, trudging together each day. Where there's a will, there's a way.
All done. I actually need to take about maybe 4 seconds off the end of that song. It'll flow a lot better. It's so low on the priority list. Like really low. Like so low that I haven't even thought about it till now. Not a while. All right, let's switch this over to news, make this a little more exciting. There you go. I don't have many options when it comes to that. I get default news and rounded. So, but maybe we should change the color. Let's change the color. Let's do that. Let's go with yellow. Oh, it's Valentine's Day. Let's go with red. There we go. But now the picture, well, blue and red go together. This would fit better though. So, yeah. I have overlays. I haven't made one though. Restream really supports Ukraine. So, it's great. I have a friend who's gone to Ukraine a couple of times and helped out there. God bless her heart, man. She's one of those ladies where she comes across like she might be meek, and she's not. She is a tough nut, man. she is tough. She's tough. Man. What other mental illnesses look like alcoholism?
According to PMC.
Blah, 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 blah. We'll just turn it down. I don't want to tell you what I'm going to say. She's still talking? She's still talking. So. Damn, it's still talking. Okay. Whew. What is the hardest mental illness to live with? Yeah. Borderline and schizophrenia. That's what I kind of figured. But welcome. We're going to be talking about some of the different mental illnesses that we tend to, we'll talk about mental illnesses, maybe not specifically any particular one. But what I would like to talk about is the fact that if we do have other mental illnesses, no worries. You've bought me shoes before. I'm not going to argue with you getting shoes. So, and thanks for inviting some people, Amber. I appreciate it. It was nice to see them. Yay for the gala. You have a lot of fun. But, some of the, there's a couple things we're going to cover. Number one will be man, you were just on a roll for buying shit this week, huh? Well, no, you bought the dress last week, but, so number one, and first, let's turn this around because that's going to look best. It's supposed to be two colors. Whatever. Oh, and I got the results back from my finger, and I can feel it. It's like floating. They're like, oh, there's nothing wrong. There's a little bit of swelling. What? All right. Well, I knew that. So anyway, had to get taken care of. But so for reals, we're gonna talk about some of the mental illnesses that look like alcohol, or there's some things that there's some alcoholic traits, there we go, that look like some mental illnesses. There's some mental illnesses that we all have, and then the mental illnesses that we do have aside um, from alcoholism, and how we can incorporate those into our lives. All right. So, welcome, David Trudge. Dion. See, it's supposed to look like that. That's how it's supposed to look. That looks kind of cool. That looks kind of cool. If you're here, please say hello. Whether you're watching the live or the rewatch. It'd be cool if that red part though I could turn yellow or something. You know what I mean? If I could do both parts of that. You can't see it when I do it. Replace. How am I gonna replace it? Okay. Doesn't matter. Okay. Let's get this over to chat. And then we'll go here. Getting more out. Alcohol abuse can cause signs and symptoms. That is not what I asked. I asked what other mental illnesses look like alcoholism. Not, yeah, it's not going to want to give it to me. What is the hardest mental? What mental are associated with alcoholism? We'll go there too. All right. So, depression, alcohol abuse can cause signs of and symptoms. So, signs. I guess I just kind of get into what I wanted. Okay. Number one, and this is what we all walk in with: depression. It may be mild depression. It might be severe depression. There's different levels of depression, right? But here's the thing. Here's the key, and how I know that everybody's walking in depressed. Alcohol is a depressant. You've been guzzling a depressant for years. It's going to make you depressed. Now, is a depressant necessarily depression? No, it is not. What a depressant is it lowers your inhibitions. It lowers your inhibitions. That's what that actually means. That is a depressant. It lowers things. It doesn't speed you up. It calms you down. You know, people use it to relax or, you know, become a different person, right? Well, that in and of itself will fuck with your brain. Yeah. By being something, by constantly being something you are not, right? This would be a good example. Okay. Now, suicide. Okay. When I drink, this is suicide on the installment plan. Okay. Well, what is it about us knowing we're killing ourselves, but continuing to do it? Well, that's a form of depression. Anxiety. Well, we all got anxiety when we walk in. Now, you may not be diagnosed with anxiety, but there are some anxieties coming in. Absolutely, they are. You know, how many alcoholic can you say that, you know, made their problems bigger than they were? We live in this dream world. We don't know how to handle these things, and that creates anxiety in our lives. Psychosis. Psychosis is a combination of several things. What I'd like to do is get the definition, but I'm using my phone. Maybe we can go here. Give me a second here, because I think it's important that we understand what they mean by psychosis. Psychosis is a mental condition characterized by loss of contact with reality. Okay, so I was on the right track with that. My thinking was on the right track with that. Hey, Ingrid, it's good to see you. Good to see you. I don't think I sent you that I was live. I'm sorry. I'll apologize. So psychosis. And what I said was loss of contact with reality involves a disruption in thoughts, perceptions, and behaviors that can lead to significant distress. What comes with psychosis? Hallucinations, delusions, disordered thinking, paranoia, changes in mood, and withdrawal from social interactions. Sound like somebody you know? Now, do you have psychosis? In this sense, no. But remember, these are signs, these are symptoms. Okay, there's a couple in here that they haven't been able to do. That's right. That's right. God led you to me. That's the way I see it. Because people are like, oh man, you took down your Facebook group. I mean, that's so sad. I'm like, I'm not sad. I'm going to tell you something. I haven't missed it at all. I haven't missed it at all. The people are going to find me. God's going to lead them to me. I 100% believe that. I really do. One that's not here, and this is going to kind of combine with the psychosis, though, to kind of show you that narcissism, alcoholism looks a lot like narcissism, right? So psychosis, there's a couple of different reasons. This is one that I bring up quite often that leads to the psychosis. It's sleep. Yeah. We go to bed. We go to bed. Yeah, I took the Facebook group down probably well over a month ago now. Yeah. I don't think you were in that group, hon. I know you're on my daily trudge. I know you're on my pages, but you weren't in the group that I can remember. But yeah, I spent 2 days shutting that down because I had to boot everybody first. And I didn't want to leave and have somebody take over and me not be able to do anything about it. So psychosis, one of the things that happens is when we drink so much, it says it in the big book quite often that, that we drink so much that we ought to sleep the clock around, but early the next morning we're up and about, right? Well, when you drink, you don't dream. When you don't dream, you don't REM. When you don't REM, you go cuckoo, cuckoo, cuckoo in the cabeza, right? So that's one reason. Not only that, but when you put enough alcohol in you, it can create things like hallucinations. You can see shit. I remember once I was really sick, and one night I just kind of woke up. I looked around and like the walls were melting and shit, and I just stood there staring at the walls. I don't know how long. Could have been 2 minutes, could have been 2 hours. But I got up the next morning. I went and looked at it. I've been taking twice the dose for 3 days. Twice the dose for 3 days. Yeah, Kathleen, absolutely. The paranoia that can come with it, especially if you've been driving around drinking and driving or done something illegal, then the paranoia really sets in. It also lists antisocial behavior both during intoxication and during withdrawals. But it didn't really give me. Okay, so what mental illnesses are associated? Now, let me clarify something. Let me clarify some things. Now, what I'm talking about is that sometimes our symptoms of alcoholism looks like other mental illnesses, and that's what I'm talking about right now. Okay, you should not get a diagnosis for any kind of mental illness until you've been sober 6 months. That's the key. Okay, a lot of therapists don't really do that anymore, especially on the ADHD. They'd rather just give you Adderall and make their money. Right? Adderall's bad, and it's addictive. Hey, let's give this addicted person Adderall. Didn't even ask. Don't even ask. All right, so this one says depressive disorder, anxiety disorder, trauma, and stress-related disorders. No, we go through a lot of trauma. We go through a lot of trauma. Some of us a lot more than others. I think from well, no, it's been my experience, and I have a lot of experience in this because I've helped a lot of people tell their stories. Women seem to have more trauma. They seem to be abused more in alcohol use disorder. You know, and by abuse I mean physically and sexually is what I mean, right? Yeah. All right, kids, drugs are bad. Okay. We're at tip time. This is not what I asked. Um, what mental illnesses look like alcoholism?
According to pmc.ncbi.nlm.nih.gov,
No, they're just giving me the same darn thing.
alcohol abuse can cause signs
Okay,
and
well
symptoms.
we can do this on our own. We don't. That's the bummer part. See, you used to be able to get information. Now you just get whatever they want to tell you. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter how you say it. Um, would be a good way to put it here. Um, how long should you be sober before you get other mental illnesses? Doesn't say because I said it wrong. Okay. Yeah, it's just going into. Oh my god. You ask a question, everybody's like, "We're here for you. We're here for you." Yeah, schizophrenia. I'm not sure, but I mean, there does come paranoia. There comes delusion, and what's schizophrenia, right? Um, yes, it can. Frontal lobe dementia, right? And frontal lobe dementia is in AA, we call it a wet brain. And it can heal. It can heal. If caught in time, and what is it? Well, what is it? Well, there's alcohol sitting on your brain. That's what it is, right? Um, it's just, it's dementia's a hard one, man. Now, there's parts of my life that I just flat out can't remember. I can't remember, right? So the key is, oh, how long should you be off of alcohol before you are diagnosed with other mental illnesses? It's going to give me
According to National Institute on Alcohol Abuse
1
and
month.
Alcoholism, note that for a primary psychotic disorder to be diagnosed, the person must have psychotic symptoms that persist for 1 month following.
They're not even
both
answering.
alcohol
They're not
and
asking my
substance use.
what mental illnesses is associated. Well, same thing. Okay. So, oh, wait a minute. Wait. Oh, there's some good points here. Okay. So I'm just going to read this whole thing, but I'm going to go into the last part, which I haven't done yet. Alcohol abuse can cause signs and symptoms of depression, anxiety, psychosis, and antisocial behavior, both during intoxication and during withdrawal. Yes, you can hallucinate while during withdrawal. At times, these symptoms and signs cluster, last for weeks, and mimic frank psychiatric disorders, i.e., our alcohol induced syndrome. So, what I've been talking about is alcohol induced syndrome, where it creates these things. I'm going to go back to narcissism because that's a good one. Look at the manipulation, look at the gaslighting, look at these things. Now, are we true narcissists? No, but we look like it has narcissistic traits. And so it's probably a good idea. This has been my experience, but it can vary for anybody. And I'm certainly never going to tell anybody not to go to therapy. I'm never going to say that. But what I did is I got through the steps and did the best that I could. And then I went to therapy for the rest. Okay. I'm diagnosed with CPTSD, acute anxiety, and severe depression. I don't think my depression's severe anymore, nor do I think my anxiety is acute. Now, CPTSD just means I wasn't in war. It came from something else. It's complex. Okay. There's other things to it, but without getting into a long thing, it means that I was not in, it was because of things that happened in my childhood. Yeah. Right. So, but if you look at if you look in, so I'm diagnosed with 4 different mental illnesses, but some of these illnesses have like traits. Like out of those 4, PTSD and alcoholism go a lot together. All right. For months, I had nightmares. Actually, months, years. I had nightmares for years. Right. Well, you also get, drinking dreams and things like that. I was always drunk in these dreams, fighting, very, very violent, very violent. Right. Now, there's a part in the big book, and it says many have mental disorders, but they can recover if they have the capacity to be honest. Okay. Now, PTSD, the symptoms of PTSD look just like resentments, almost exactly like resentments. And people kept saying, "Oh, Deanna, you didn't do a good 4-step." I'm like, "Go look at my fucking 4-step. It's probably more." I mean, I've been learning how to do that for a long time. I'm like, this is not. I'm like, I don't actually think that everybody is against me. I don't actually think that, but my brain will not have it any other way. I was not being given a choice. It's like the alcohol was still in me. I'd want to tell my wife I loved her and come out, fuck off, and get away from me, which isn't really how I truly felt. But I was in such high anxiety that I didn't know what was going on. I didn't know what was happening. And it was scary. But those were not resentments. They weren't. I know the difference. It was a heightened paranoia. Well, when it comes to PTSD, what's going on is something has triggered you. And instead of it being a memory, it's in the portion of your brain where it's happening right now. Right now. Like my life is in danger right now. Okay? Sometimes when I got triggered, I would start shaking so bad because I was scared and angry at the same time. Yeah. So I really had to work on my triggers. That's, you hear me say a lot that you got to be responsible for a few things. Now you got to be responsible for your actions. You got to be responsible for your feelings, right? And you got to learn how to be responsible for your triggers. There's there's a lot of power in that, you know. I'm not saying I don't get triggered. It does happen. But now I have a different understanding of it. Well, we got to go back to that capacity to be honest. Okay? PTSD comes with denial. Anxiety and depression usually come with denial, not as heavy. But the big thing for me was I was in war. Those guys go out, they fight for our fucking country. They do all this. Don't you dare put them down. I didn't go half of what they went through. And then my therapist, who at the time pointed out several things to me, I'm like, oh fuck. And I had to accept the fact that I had PTSD. It wasn't until I did that I was able to start doing other things. Here you go. CBT and DBT work very well, very well. AA itself is actually cognitive behavioral therapy. I don't remember what DBT stands for. I used something called, I went through something, I don't want to say I used it because somebody else was doing it, right? EMDR. EMDR worked really, really well. What is EMDR? It's not going to tell us this time. Stands for eye movement desensitization and reprocessing. Okay. Neat thing about EMDR is if it works right away. It works right away. It did for me. I went from fucking hating my father, the man that raised me, he's not my father. Okay. To understanding that maybe he was just doing the best he could. But there were times when I would like see him and I'd be fucking 14 years old again, riding in that car back to Mount Airy Psychiatric Center while he would berate me the whole way. And of course, he always waited till my mother wasn't around or anybody else. He liked to have those conversations in private. Okay. Even my brothers and sisters don't know about this shit. They don't give a fuck. Right. And so I'd be right back there. Right. And I'd want to hurt him. Yeah. You know what my first reaction when I hear about bullying is? I want to fucking hurt the people. I do. It's my first reaction, man, which is why I need to be aware of it. There are certain things that happen, a slamming door, yelling. These are things that will start to set me off. Right? Yeah, slamming doors is a big one for me because that's what a lot happen, because that's what the man that raised me did. He did a lot of slamming doors and yelling and threats and, so I had to work through those triggers, but having a deep honesty, and seeking outside help, man. AA is not going to help you solve those problems. It's not there for that. It's one purpose. AA's purpose is to help you find a power greater than yourself so that you can get to a point where you can seek outside help and get some help. Hey. And I'm sorry, but I haven't met an alcoholic yet that doesn't need therapy. In my opinion, right? Yeah. Heck, we're the kind of people that sought out sordid places for companionship and approval. Oh, and I just walked away scot-free. What else can help with this? Emotional sobriety is a big one. It's a very big one, right? Because since my stuff came with paranoia, it also came with demands. It came with demands. It did. Yes, Michelle, I am back. Look who's back. Back again. Dion's back. Tell a friend. Tell a friend. Not how much more I really have on this, except that, it's okay to get outside help. It is, and you're allowed to be choosy with your therapist. If you don't like a therapist, go find another one. In Colorado, we have something called Overcomers Counseling, and I love this place. I love how they did it. Okay. If you have a therapist that works for themselves, this won't really apply. But let's say you go see a therapist and they work for a corporation or a bigger company, ask some questions. Do you like your job? It's going to be one of the first things I ask. Well, why do you like your job? Is there stuff you don't like about working here? Because that's going to tell me how they're going to be treated and therefore how I'm going to be treated. Yeah. Yeah. 17, then before the big onslaught of alcoholism, that'd be pliable. Absolutely. Is BPD something, is it a lifetime kind of a mental illness? I haven't looked too much. I understand borderline personality disorder, but I don't think that it can be cured. I don't know that it can be cured that I'm aware of. Depression, alcoholism, PTSD, anxiety, these things cannot be cured. No. Every week I talk to my therapist. Oh, what was your anxiety level this week? You know, and it's never zero. It's never zero. I go through different level, but it's the level of it. You know, and I seem to do okay 1, 2, but when I get to that 4, 5, oh man, I I'll turn into a whiny little baby quick, or I'll get mad, which is still a whiny baby. It is. But therapy, EMDR worked great for me. There's some other things out there. Notice I'm not talking about meds. I'm not going to talk about meds. No. I can talk about mine. I am currently on no meds for any of my mental illnesses. I was on duloxetine, which is Cymbalta, right? Now the average is 60 milligrams. Now I think actually the average is 40. It may even be lower than that. It might be 30. They had me on 120 milligrams of Cymbalta. Right? And a couple people here watched me get off that shit. Remember me getting off of that? It took me over a year to wean off of all of it. And it was the end there, man. Getting the brain zaps, feeling this way. I mean, it was horrible. I am not a fan of duloxetine. I'm not, you know. So, but it did help me get to a point where I could at least, that my depression was unmanageable enough that I could work on it so that I could go off those meds. Because for me, that's always the goal. If they're going to put me on meds, then the goal is to get off of them because I don't want to be on them. Right. And of course, you know, they always want to push their pills and things like that. I don't really believe that ADHD exists. I don't believe that ADD exists. People have always said, oh, you have ADD. That's unregulated emotions for me is what it is. I'm not saying that you don't have ADHD. I'm not a doctor, but I do know that they do make up diseases in order to make you take pills. That I do know. Oh yeah, off the clorazepam, and that's an opiate. Oh, that's the amitriptyline. That's a tough one too. I think I'll have to look. But the clonazepam is an opiate, and it comes in different forms too, like lorazepam and oh, it's a benzo. Okay, it's a benzo. Okay, thank you. Which is just as hard to get off of. Benzos are addictive. They are. And that's kind of the problem with some of these things is that they can give you a high. Right? When all the times that I had to hey Sam, good to see you. Good to see you. 7 years, man. What? You have 7 years today, huh? Right on. Let's give a round of applause to Sam, man. Good job. Good on you, man. Right on. And the heroin. Fuck. Yeah. That's fantastic. Now we know why we did this, so we can celebrate with Sam. Fuck the rest of it, you know. But amitriptyline, I don't know much about that one. You know, and we all have our experiences with meds, and I have found that most people that have been through the gamut usually say fuck pharma. You know, actually, I'm just going to keep my mouth shut on some things because I can get pretty opinionated on it. Well, let's use shrooms, right? Because shrooms, they're saying things like it'll help with PTSD and things, and I can see how something could do that. I do. But here's the problem, okay? Like, absolutely, Ingrid, I love you. Um, where was I? I forget. Too much information went through my head at once. Oh, shrooms. I could see how it could help, right? And they're like, and what you do is you microdose. I understand microdose too, but my brain doesn't understand the concept that microdosing is like every 6 months. My brain's like every day, yeah, every day. It's like, well, if I'm not going to get it every day, then I'm not even going to bother. See, my brain just it doesn't it doesn't quite do it. See, it does. My brain can't make the connection, and PTSD quite frequently comes with a substance use disorder, and so that's why I find it scary. A lot of people say this that pills were harder than alcohol. Yeah, I have heard that absolutely. Um, Sam agrees. Fuck pharma. So we can all agree on one thing, unless it comes to Zofran, which is a tummy med. That thing's a miracle drug. Probably not very good for you. But why do we? Why do they want us on things that are addictive? I don't know that I would say control. And we're getting very opinionated here now. Just in case anybody that pops in that's like, what the fuck's wrong with these people? You're allowed to have your own opinion here. So and so it's fine. So I don't even know how to pronounce this. Hayawasaka I would like to try. I'm sure my sponsor will try and talk me out of that. I don't know what that is. Is that like a like peyote or something like that? Sounds like a mushroom tea or something. Hayawasaka. It gave me Kawasaki. Bronco is like now whenever I go to Facebook, it's just gonna be, oh, you looking for a motorcycle? You looking for a motorcycle? No. Okay, it's like peyote. Okay. It sounded it sounded very, I don't want to say Indian. I don't even know what to Wasaka. Okay, thank you. And Sam's like, don't. Yeah. And I probably, oh, DMT. That I understand. DMT is dangerous. And I'll tell you why. I'm going to tell you something. I love DMT. I loved it. And that is the problem. That's the problem. Right? When it came out as ecstasy, man. Oh man. Yeah. Oh, did I see the dangers in that? You know, there's something to be Oh, I'm still live. This thing's still alive. So I doubt anybody's here though. So, but at least that's crazy. It's even showed me the so what happened? You're frozen on my end. Okay, it's not just me. Is this censorship? He'll probably be back. I mean, I had to restart my computer. So I doubt any. Oh, Dion, where art thou? That's funny. But thank you everybody for being here. I appreciate it. I love you. I don't even know if this is actually going on. You know it. I restarted my computer and somehow it's still live. So, but thank you. I appreciate it. I love it. Thanks for sticking around too. So, but I was wrapping up, but I love you. You know I do. Peace out and have a day. Bye bye.